Check out great deals at Safeway. This week at Safeway, 1 pound of strawberries or 6 ounces of blueberries, raspberries, or blackberries are 3 for $12. Member price. Plus get value packs of USDA Choice Boneless Beef Tri-Tip Roast, untrimmed twin packs for $3.87 per pound with digital coupon. Limit 2 packages. And local green or red seedless grapes for the member price of $1.88 per pound. Also at Safeway, 16 ounces of Jennie-O turkey. Selected varieties are buy one, get one free. Visit Safeway.com or head in store for more deals.
This episode is brought to you by Utilize, the app that lets you rent anything to and from your neighbors. Rent paddleboards, trailers, bounce houses, and just about anything else. You can turn it into an easy side hustle by renting out the stuff you already own. Best of all, it's a greener way to live because you don't need to buy the party supplies, outdoor gear, or tools that you'll only use once or twice. Now just rent them, all for less. Download the app today. Utilize. YOODLIZE.
Hello everyone, this is Matt with Deep Woods Paranormal.
And Amanda.
We're back for another podcast. I had to take a week off. We were just so busy with so many things going on. We're collaborating with so many people and doing all these other things. We had a bunch of people actually write in and ask us a bunch of questions. So Amanda and I sat down and talked about it, and we think we're going to go through and do a question or answer today. And kind of answer some of the questions that you guys have. And that way we can kind of give you some answers. Anyways, Amanda's going to kind of read off some questions to me, and she's going to answer and I'm going to answer, and
we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, first question. How long have you been researching the paranormal?
Well, we've been researching the paranormal probably for over 20 years together. Me, personally, I've been researching the paranormal by myself since I was a teenager, in my early teens, as we've talked about many times in our podcasts. Yeah. So, about 26 years together as a professional team, if you will.
And I started researching when I was young as well. More of like experiencing, but seriously researching in my teens. And then, of course, our team together.
Nice. So the next question is, what was your scariest experience? Should I go ahead and start with this one?
I'll go.
Go
My
ahead.
scariest experiences was actually a personal experience in which I had something very dark and very black in my room in my house that I lived in when I was a teenager. And I lived on the second floor. My room was on the second floor, so heat rises. My mom was always cold, so the air conditioning wasn't on, and my room got freezing cold, like you could see my breath. And I looked up, and there was something very black in the corner of my room, and it like sucked out all the light. And I was screaming, and my door wouldn't open, and my dad couldn't get into the room, and he had to break the door lock to get into my room. And then when they got in there was nothing there. So that was the scariest thing that ever happened, and I can't explain what it was. And my parents don't know, why I was screaming. Like they didn't see anything, so they didn't believe me that there was something black up there. But also the door wouldn't open. So that was pretty scary.
Yeah, that does sound very scary. I've had a lot of so-called scary experiences, but I think my top-rated one, where I can just say that was extremely scary to me, probably was my Bigfoot encounter, where that thing was just like feet away from me. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it real quickly. So I was actually going up. I wasn't interested. I was going up to Black Star. I wasn't really interested in doing Bigfoot research that night. I'd gone to a place where what we called the trees grow over, and there was a mine actually just up the way a little ways. And essentially what I was going to do was I was just going to do an EVP session. I brought a camera to document my EVP session. And as I got to this place, I started hearing like a growling, and I just thought it was a mountain lion. So I started recording my EVP session, and I hear what sounds like rustling in the brush. And as I kind of turned around and started shining the light around to see what it was actually on the other side of the trail, which was strange. So I'm shining the light over there, and all of a sudden I see this bush going back and forth. And it's not a little bush. It was at least 6 feet wide, probably about 7 or 8 feet tall. And I could see some eyes behind it. I'm like, okay, that's strange. And then I figured out real quick it was a Bigfoot. It was just shaking this tree back and forth. And I went, oh, okay. This is the one I call a bouncer. This guy was he wasn't super tall. He was only about 8 feet tall, but he was wide. I mean, he was 6, 7 feet wide. If I laid down, basically I would be as wide as he is. His arms were just massive. Massive arms. Massive, big, wide chest. Brown-haired. I think there might have been 2 of them. I think there might have been a set of twins, or they look like twins. So I stopped what I was doing. I grabbed the camera, and I basically turned the camera on this thing that was shaking the bush back and forth. And I think it just got more and more angry. I think it was trying to scare me out of there. And essentially, it went on for like 30 seconds. It shook the bush, and then all of a sudden, it took off. It darted to the left. And essentially when it darted that way, it ran up the creek and disappeared. So I thought the experience was done. I'm pretty sure it flanked me. I don't know if it went up this side of the mountain, which was, almost vertical, or what. I don't know how it got around me so quickly. But I was excited about it. I figured I just got a Bigfoot on video, which unfortunately I didn't. The camera IR was not strong enough to capture it, but I did see it run away. I physically saw it run. I could tell it was Bigfoot when I saw it run. So I started walking down the path. I got about 100 feet down the path, where the mountain kind of slopes down to where the path is. It's about 2 feet up, and there's a little slope there that you can it'd be really easy for somebody to walk on it. And I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. I saw this big black blob and 2 red eyes. And I kind of turned to my left, and I went, oh, gee, I'm pretty sure my adjective was a lot more, a lot better than that. But anyways, so,
Beep word.
Yeah, it was a beeped out word, if you will. I didn't quite turn my head all the way, but it was like I could have reached my arm out and touched this thing. And it growled at me, and I went, okay. And that's how I knew. It didn't growl real loud. It was just like a real guttural, because it wanted to make sure I knew. And so that freaked me out. I'm sure my heart skipped at least 1 or 2 beats as I walked very quickly about 6 or 7 steps before I got my composure back and was able to turn around and look. But that scared me out of there for a couple, 3 or 4 months. I could not go back up there. I was very, very aware of their presence after that, if I wasn't before. And so I definitely went back up into that same area a few more times just to get my composure back. It's kind of like getting back on a bike after you've fallen. Just because I didn't want to be afraid of being up there. But every time, after that, my heart beat a little faster when I knew they were around. And they made their presence known. They knew, they made sure I knew that they were there. But yeah, that was probably my most scary experience, because that thing could have just grabbed me. It could have just broken my neck. It could have torn me to shreds. It could have done anything it wanted to. Real easy. So, anyways.
Okay, next question. What was your favorite investigation?
I have a lot of favorite investigations. I really like the Queen Mary. We've been on there so many times. But I have to actually say out here in Texas, if we're going to stick with Texas, I have to say the Woodbine. The Woodbine, we got so much documentation of possible paranormal activity out there. And I use the word possible because we have skeptics that listen, and I understand that some people don't believe in them, and that's great. I love skeptics. It's fun when they turn into believers. But, all the audio, all the spirit box stuff that came through the spirit box, it turned me into a hater of the spirit box into a lover of the spirit box. Just all the weird things that happened. That little girl knocking on the door of that couple that was up there that night when we were investigating. and the cameras kept dying every time we changed the battery, and then them being able to say hotel or say Ezekiel or say our names. I mean, they must have said our names at least twice each, and we had 7 or 8 people there. It said the owner's name, which is not an easy name to say, but just awesome things. And the word Bob that came through, and then we figured out who Bob actually was, which was awesome, as I'm getting the chills. But yeah, I just really liked that place. Very amazing place. We went back again during Halloween, and again we got a lot of awesome results. Had some people that were very skeptical, very excited about what was going on when their K2s lit up for no reason. They couldn't figure out why they were going off and stuff like that. So
I would say my favorite case in Texas was the Normandy Inn. When the spirit box clearly stated "get out," that was revealing to me. When it said "get out," I was like, okay.
well, yeah, going back through that, and we didn't understand what it was saying at that point in time, and then to have it say, "get out, you need to leave now," and it kept saying the same stuff over and over again. It was just clear as day.
Well, what was fun about it is that we went the first time, we got nothing, like almost nothing, and the second time, the first time with the spirit box, we got nothing, and then the second time, for it very clearly to say that, it was, it was a fun experience.
Yeah. And of course, what happened at the end was even made it just validated our experience even more. But we're not going to give that away on here because we don't want to. We don't want to basically ruin the ending for anybody.
Yeah, you should go and watch it.
Yeah.
What is your favorite piece of gear and why?
What's my favorite piece of gear? I don't know. I have a lot of favorite pieces of gear. That's a tough one.
I'll tell mine while you're thinking.
Okay.
My favorite piece of gear, believe it or not, is the thermal. I love using that thermal thing. I'm looking for animals. I'm looking for any anomaly. It works good for ghost hunting because you can look for cold spots, and it works good for anomaly hunting or Bigfoot hunting or Slender Man, or any kind of hunt. Really, it works.
Yeah.
So it works for heat signatures and cold signatures, and so I really love using that.
Could work for UFOs too. We just weren't able to get anything on it when I shined it up in the sky, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But if you did have one that maybe was down or something like that, you could probably use it for that as well.
I really like the parabolic dish as well, because that's fun to use.
Yeah, well, Amanda has really good hearing. Unfortunately, my hearing over the years has gotten a little bit messed up due to trucking and stuff like that. But it's fun for her to sit there and I'm hearing something walking through the brush. And you'll hear that on our next YouTube production. We actually are going to be posting that here in the next week, I think, where we went out to the Sam Houston National Forest, and that's actually going to be part 1. We're going to be shooting part 2 next weekend, so that'll be cool. We're going to go looking for Bigfoots. We're going to visit several different locations and try and get some
evidence.
Yeah, look for footprints, maybe cast a few footprints during the day, and look for hair samples and collect any DNA we can collect. And then during the nighttime, we're going to do a full-on investigation with maybe 2 or 3 people at 2 or 3 different locations and see if we can get any kind of responses like we did the last time. So anyways, my favorite gear used to be the audio recorder, just because, I mean, then you would have solid evidence of a voice. Here's a voice. This came out of nowhere. Nobody was talking at this point in time. But I have to say now, I'm just starting to really like the spirit box. I mean, the spirit box is something I hated for a long period of time. A whole bunch of gibberish coming out of the damn thing. It was annoying to listen to. And now, for some reason, it's like the spirits have figured out, hey, I can talk through that. And now that we're using an audio recorder to record it, we can go back and listen to it, and we're finding that there's so much more that we're not hearing there. There's not only the voices that we can hear coming through the spirit box, there's actually EVPs coming through there as well. Like the case that we did work the other night, helping that family out, we heard a lot of things that we didn't hear visually on the spirit box. When I watched the video, it's just you couldn't hear it. But on audio, you pick up all these things, like it was two spirits actually talking to each other. One says something to the other one, and it was just really interesting.
Yeah, I find it interesting how clear it is now, when before it didn't make sense.
Yeah, it just spitted out a bunch of gibberish and stuff like that, and maybe it's because we've gotten better at using it, or we're just more tolerant towards it. But like I said, I didn't really used to like the spirit box very much, and now I think I'm enjoying it more because we're starting to get better results from it. So, I also like the K2. I have a lot of favorite pieces of gear. I also like the thermal parabolic dish too. So yeah, I like most of our gear. I don't think I really have a favorite piece of gear, but I'm really starting to like that spirit box because we're starting to get some real answers in real time, and we can talk to whoever's there and actually hear their voice or hear what they're saying, and then try and go from there, and that we can base our next question off that. We're not just sitting there trying to figure out what to ask next. It's not just like, what's your favorite color? How long have you been here? You know, the standard questions that people like to ask. When you ask a question and it gives you an answer, it's almost like you can have a full-on conversation. I can say, you know, Amanda, what's your favorite color? And you say red, and then all of a sudden I go, oh, that's a great color. You know, did you paint the wall red or something? I don't know. You can just, you know, did you have a red car or something like that? So that we can keep the conversation going. We're actually getting true feedback in real time, which is awesome, especially if they do actually respond through that thing. So, I mean, the locations we go to are pretty active. I'm not going to say they're all haunted, but they're pretty active. So we're getting better and better results too. Anyways, let's see. Somebody else asked a question. What was your worst case? I've only had like one or two that I've really dreaded. There was a case out in California. I'll talk about two really quickly. There was a case out in California where actually I had a few friends that came in to help me as well. I didn't really want to deal with negative or demonic cases at that point in time. And so this was a family in dire need of help. The lady actually had been physically assaulted while in bed one night. We could see the bruises on her arms and stuff like that. We didn't go any further than that, but we had investigated this place like every day for 30 days, and we had gotten nothing. We got nothing. And finally, on that last day, we got a full body apparition, and then we actually saw what was messing with the house and messing with the people there. And it also, unfortunately, was on Indian burial ground, so we had to tread very carefully because we didn't want to offend the Indians that were buried there. We had to leave offerings for them to make sure that they were happy. And then finally, they actually helped us chase that negative energy out of the house. But it just took 30 days. It took a month to get rid of that negative energy out of that house, that negative entity out of the house. We chased it through the whole house. I mean, we literally chased it bedroom for bedroom, and you could see it. And when we got there that night, my friend said, hey, look, this is, just feels really nasty, and it feels very thick and heavy, and we could see something on the roof, and then as soon as we did, it disappeared. And like I said, we just chased it through the whole house. I would have to say the other one was the Wisconsin case that we took, and I don't want to give out too many details, but essentially, same thing. We got there, and the house felt heavy and thick. The family was all sleeping in one room because they didn't feel comfortable being in their own beds. They were terrified. Something had happened on the land. I don't know what had happened. I have theories, but they're just theories. I can't prove any of it. Essentially, being a little more sensitive to the paranormal, I could feel things. I could feel the energy was very angry, and really wanted to hurt somebody, which is never good. And so we did some EVP sessions and some K2 sessions, and the K2s just lit all the way up. All the way up. I had 5 of them sitting in one area, and they all lit up. We checked for electricity, we checked for EMF, we checked for everything. And you're moving from that away from that area, and they, go down, go up, go left, go right. There was just a pocket of energy, and it was basically, pointing towards us. And we were doing an EVP session, and everything came back with curse words in it, or something hateful. I'm pretty sure it said, "I'm going to kill you, I'm going to hurt you, you're dead, F you, you need to leave, get the F out." And these were all as clear as I'm talking to you guys now. And that's when I knew. I'm like, oh boy. I reviewed the audio about 2 hours after that. We actually stayed with the family in their home because we wanted to document what was going on. We spent 3 days there. And, oh man, that was bad. I mean, we blessed the house. We cleansed the house. We blessed the house. We cleansed the house. We did everything we could to clear that house out. And we got one full body apparition on the camera. And, but I think once we cleared the house, I spent many nights basically focusing on the energy on the land and trying to clear that mentally, and that was challenging. And I just felt like the safety of the family was that family was in danger the whole time we were there. And whatever it was very strong. There was multiple entities there. And they did not want us there. They were not happy about us being there, and they wanted to not only hurt the family, they wanted to hurt us. And so yeah, just a really nasty case. And coming back, I actually got sick afterwards because my energy was just drained beyond belief. And not a case I really enjoyed, but I was very happy for the family that they are doing well now. It seems to be the negative energy's gone, and they seem to still be doing very well. So our clientele, I mean, that never goes away. You never stop helping the family. They're always monitoring what's going on. You don't really have to contact them a lot, but you do stay in touch with them and make sure they're still okay, because you don't want anything to start over again. You don't want it to try and come back and whatever else. But once you've done those kind of cases, I mean, you have a bullseye on your back. There's nothing you can do. You're stuck. Once you've dealt with those kind of entities, they will come after you in one way or another. They will mess with you. They'll do everything. So I hate demonic cases, but sometimes you just have to take them and stuff like that. So, anyways, what's the next question, babe? Where did you guys meet? Where did you meet your wife? That's what it says.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
How did you meet your wife?
Am I going to say?
Go ahead.
We met in high school. That's the bottom line of it.
Yeah, she was my high school sweetheart. I saw her, and it was a little awkward at first, but...
a lot awkward, really.
Yeah, we were
young. That's what was awkward. You're always awkward when you're young.
Mm-hmm. We were both kind of glancing at each other without each other noticing, and then I would sit behind her on purpose in another class, and finally, I think I asked you out. I can't remember.
Yeah, you did. And I
finally got the nerve.
3 times.
My friends were like, just go ask her out. Just go ask her out. And back then I was really shy and withdrawn, mainly because of probably what was going on in the house I lived in. But I finally got up the nerve to ask her about 1 million times to finally go out with me, and she did. And,
it was 3 times I said no.
Yeah, I had to beg her. I had to grovel very, very much. So, but she said yes, and she's still with me today. Somehow I'm very lucky that I still have her in my life, and so I know, every day how lucky I am to have my wife. So, anyways, that's how we met. And it says, have you ever lived in a haunted house? God, have we not lived in a haunted house?
I feel like every house we've ever lived in is haunted together.
It's every house. I think I was
Except for this one, the new
yeah,
one.
thank God. Last night I was doing a tour down in downtown Bryan here, and people were asking me some questions, and I think we were talking. I said, this is the first house I think I've ever lived in with my wife where I haven't had paranormal activity, or at least a lot of it. Things don't move on their own now. We don't see entities. We don't have doors open and close on their own. I don't think that's happened in this house. There hasn't. Yeah, there has been some minor activity, but it's not anything that I would say, oh my gosh, this house is haunted. It's just even active. I
think the worst house was the Lake Forest house. That one had the most activity.
Well, there were several entities in that house.
Yeah, but it had, doors would open and close on their own. The cabinet doors would open. The dogs would freak out at nothing. Their hair would stand up. I'd be home alone, and it sounded like someone was in the other room. I'd go into the other room. There would be no one there. I would hear talking, and I would go and look outside to see if maybe the neighbors were walking by or something. There would be no one there. Like, the boxes moved, the piano would play on its own. So many things in that house.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I realized the house was haunted and I didn't want to say anything to her. I'm like, okay, so we were basically when we moved in this house, we gutted this house. We put in all new...
remodeled it.
Yeah, remodeled it. Put in all new subflooring and painted all the walls, and the house was just in bad shape. We redid the outside.
That's how we got a really great deal on it.
Yeah, we got a good house. Yeah, exactly. So we took the extra money we had, and we slowly but surely remodeled it. And as we did, that's when the activity really kind of picked up. And so, yeah, there was definitely a male entity there and a female entity there. But also, that property was on an old farm. And the old farmhouse actually was just about 100 feet away from our house. And so they basically kept the old farmhouse. In fact,
they eventually moved the farmhouse.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they moved it. They picked it up and moved it.
Interesting.
I know.
So, yeah, the property manager, he was interesting. He would come by and he's like, Matt, because he managed the clubhouse and the pool area. And,
the HOA.
Yeah, the HOA. And he came by in his little cart, and he's like, Matt, you'll never believe what I found, because everybody in the park knew that or the complex, or whatever you want to call it, knew that I did ghost hunting, and he's like, I got something on camera, and I'm like, oh, cool, let me see. And he's like, well, I deleted it. And he described what it was, and he said he saw an entity walk across the room in the clubhouse and disappear, which was awesome. But yeah, I saw a little girl there. I can still see her to this day. The little girl with blonde hair. She had pigtails. She had the blue dress on with a white bonnet, and then she had the knee-high socks and the baby doll shoes. And she used to like to talk to you in the middle of the night. And I remember waking up a couple times and looking over and seeing her talking to you, and then seeing her physically walk around the end of the bed. I'm like, oh no, here we go. I am trying to sleep. I'm going back to sleep. I even said this out loud. I'm like, I'm not talking to you. But she would literally play with me in the middle of the night. She'd she'd pull my necklace off, out in the middle of the night. She'd be glancing at my necklace, or she'd move stuff on the side of my dresser. She would do all kinds of cool things.
I wouldn't necessarily call it cool.
Well, yeah. But we documented a lot of stuff in the house. We documented footsteps when nobody was there. We got a shadow that came into the laundry room and peeks around the corner.
That's where the dogs would go crazy.
Yeah, I think the dogs were locked outside at that point. But yeah, there was just so many things that we documented. We actually set up home security cameras in our own home, and then you're not supposed to investigate your own home, but we had to document the stuff that was going on. Anyways, we're running a little low on time. So, what's the next question, babe? Does it say? Let's see. I see it now. How many people are on your team? Right now, I think we have 14. People kind of volunteer as they can. With summer going on, we're constantly adding people. We're looking to get to be about 20 or 30 people, to be honest with you. With the production,
more people, the better.
Yeah, with the productions and stuff like that going on, and our schedule getting busier and busier.
And other people's schedules getting busier and busier.
Right.
They don't have time.
Right, and then with all the collaborations we're doing, with the downtown Bryan Ghost Walk and stuff like that. We're just constantly adding people. If you're interested, if you're in the Bryan or College Station area, and you're interested in joining us, that's great. Well, we are always looking for people. We do Bigfoot research, ghost hunting, UFOs, anything paranormal activity, crypto creatures, stuff like that. We just did Slender Man. We do Bigfoot next weekend. So we do a lot of stuff. So we're always looking for people to join the team. Also, it doesn't matter if you're not in the general area. We're also doing a paranormal networking system where we're working with not only other investigators but other groups, and also other ghost tours and stuff like that, real estate agents, anybody who's interested in working with the paranormal. We're networking out with everybody, like in Houston and Dallas and San Antonio and stuff like that. We're reaching out to all these teams and stuff because when they think they have a case or there's something interesting we should go check out, they're letting us know, and then we're going and shooting shows, and basically they're going to probably be in that show. And I think that kind of leads into the next question. How often do you guys investigate and produce shows? Right now, we're trying to do at least 2 weekends a month. We try and go out every Saturday night and film somewhere. Unfortunately, the weather has not been cooperating lately.
It's been raining so much here. We've
had like 10 days of off and on rain every day. Supposed to let up here hopefully end of next week, but we just keep getting more and more rain, and it's just making it very hard to get out and do, even when it's not raining, do the productions because it's so mucky and muddy in these forest areas that we go to, because they're not in the normal areas. They're out isolated areas. So we don't go into the places where everybody else is. If we're looking for Bigfoot, or we're looking for Slender Man, or we're looking for a crypto creature,
or Dog Man, or anything like that.
Yeah, we're going out into the areas where most people won't go, and stuff like that. And even ghost hunting, it's a little hard, especially if you're going to a cemetery or you're going to a location, especially when it's pouring rain and
it interferes with audio.
Right, it interferes with audio, and then you have all these totes. We have so much gear. I mean, we have 10 totes full of gear, big totes full of gear that we're basically carrying across, in and out and setting up. It takes hours to set up as well when we're doing ghost hunting investigations. So anyways, right now, currently we're doing 2 shows a month, and our podcasts, of course, are every week.
We try to do them every week.
Right, every Thursday. Every Thursday is when we try and do our podcasts, and then we release them on Friday or Saturday, sometimes Sunday, where people listen to. We're pretty consistent with that. We've only missed like 2 weeks since we started this. I think this is episode 19 or 20. So, anyways, we're pretty spot on with that. In fact, we actually have some special guests coming up here next week. I think we're going to talk to a girl that she's a real estate agent, but she also used to investigate the paranormal. So she's very much into the paranormal side of things as a real estate agent, and we'll talk more about that next week with her. We'll let her use her own words to describe that.
Yeah, it's always interesting to get a different point of view.
Yeah, she's very into the history, and which is interesting to me because history plays so much into what you're researching, especially with ghosts. You want to know the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why, because if you go in cold, your chances of actually getting any kind of evidence is pretty low, unfortunately. Unless whatever's there really wants to communicate with you. Anyways, guys, I apologize for this getting out here so long. I think we're about 33 minutes now. But
I want to thank everybody for sending in the questions and continuing to follow us as we move through our journey.
Right. And you can also follow us on YouTube. We're Deepwoods Paranormal Texas. With this, unfortunately, the camera decided to turn off in the middle of recording, thanks to the spirit that messed with it. But anyways, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Stick to it, babe. Stick to it.
Yeah.
It was working earlier, though.
Yeah, it turned on, and in the middle of this, it turned off. I don't know what technical issues we had, but I'm blaming the ghosts. The moon did it, as I used to say.
Oh, Lord.
Anyways, that's a personal. Yeah, whatever. So anyways.
Wrap it up, babe. Wrap it up. Going off kilter.
I am having a little fun here. So yeah, thank you guys again for following us. Thank you all for the questions. If you want to ask questions, you can either email us or text us or call us or send questions in via Twitter or Facebook.
Instagram.
Instagram. We appreciate those, and we'll try and answer those on here every once in a while, maybe every 5th or 6th or 8th episode or something like that. We're also going to be introducing a new show called After the Show, and basically it'll be us talking about our experiences when we're out in the paranormal field after an investigation. Maybe it's going to be stuff that you didn't see, or we had a personal experience that just didn't make it onto the show for some reason, but we'll be interviewing essentially everybody that had an experience, or we'll be talking about, if nobody had a personal experience, we'll be talking about the investigation itself. So, alright guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Have a good night.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woo-hooer, a hand clapper, a high-fiver? I kind of like the high-five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.